All right, 8th graders, so this is going to be your data collection portion of the CSI Melting Point Lab. This is probably one of my hardest labs that I've had to film for you guys, not in terms of technicalities, but just in terms of the observations that are needed to complete this lab. It's really hard for me to describe. So what I have for you guys is obviously I have my 8 suspects on this tray. All my little melting cones are all loaded up and ready to go, so that should be quick for you guys. But what's really hard about it is when I melt these, first of all, remember that if they melt really quick, they have a low melting point, okay? We've talked a lot about energy added to a substance and how that changes the molecular freedom of movement of the molecules of that substance. So if we're just adding a little bit of heat and melting them for a couple quick seconds and they're able to change from a solid to a liquid that easily, then obviously that's a low melting point, versus a high melting point is one where we have you know, a lot of energy that's needed to make that phase change occur. And again, you guys will see that on quite a few of these, that we're going to hold them in the flame for a couple seconds and there's going to be no change to them at all, except maybe a little bit of burning, but no melting. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to kind of work through these. And then what I'm going to do is after I burn each of these, I'm going to obviously give you guys a description as best I can using my senses. And then I'm going to kind of try to dump them out on this paper towel so you guys can kind of take a look at as best as possible what they look like afterwards. Okay. All right. So we're just going to kind of start right off the bat and we're going to go into suspect 1 substance. I'm going to melt these for about 5 seconds. And then if they don't melt, remember, we're going to assume that they're a high melting point. If they do melt, I'll kind of tell you how long it took them to melt. And then you guys can kind of use that time frame. Obviously, if it melts within 5 seconds, that's also a low melting point. All right. So this is suspect 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It doesn't really look like there's any change in appearance at all. Again, I'm going to go ahead and kind of dump that substance out, and we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Okay, so there's really no change. It looks exactly the same as it did before within that 5 seconds. All right, suspect 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Again, if I dump that out, we kind of had a clump. It was a white color. It kind of turned a little bit of a tannish color, like maybe it was burning a little bit. It was, like I said, a really good white color, and now it's kind of a really light tan color or cream color. And then one little chunk formed, but there was no melting. Okay, this is suspect 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It almost looks like there was a little bit of melting to the point where this was clumped up. I'm going to go ahead and try to open this up a little bit better. It started to want to melt, so you could maybe even put this as like a medium boiling point or melting point. It kind of, like I said, where it melted, it kind of clumped together. It was more of a powder, and now there's just a lot of chunks available to that one. So that was suspect or substance 3. Okay. Substance 4. 1, 2, so it's already starting to melt. 3, 4. So this one, oh, notice it started on fire. So this one definitely melted. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to dump out. You guys can kind of see that glump of almost black tar, and you guys can see where it kind of started to turn yellow where it started to melt. If I smell that, it almost kind of has a burnt marshmallow smell to it. Kind of a sweet smell. Okay, so that was substance 4. And again, I'll zoom in on these so you guys can see them a little bit better. All right, substance 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So within the 5, notice it started on fire. It also started to melt here as well. Let's see if I can open this up a little bit better for you guys. It definitely turned black. It's kind of crumbly. I'll leave just a little bit of that tin foil so you guys can see the black part of it. Okay, so that was substance 5. Substance 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this one didn't look like it melted, but it definitely burned. So it definitely turned black around parts of it, but none of it actually melted, just formed clumps. Again, not from melting. Okay? Substance 7 or suspect 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like there's no change whatsoever to that. Okay, so it's exactly the same as it was. Didn't change color, nothing. Okay, and finally suspect 8 or substance 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's already started melting. 4, 5. So again, it started on fire like some of the other ones. And you guys can see kind of what it looks like there as far as how it melted. Okay. As far as that goes, it kind of has a little bit of a smell to it, like almost a sweet smell, but not super strong. Okay, and then this last one's going to be our unknown, and then I'll let you guys take a look and kind of see how it looked like after they burned. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one definitely started melting. Notice it started on fire. See if I can tap any of that out. Okay, leave some of that behind. Definitely kind of got some like almost black tar in here. So that one melted really good. Kind of gooey in here, mostly liquid, so I'm just going to kind of leave this little part for you guys, and you guys can kind of compare each of the substances. Okay, so I'll zoom in on that a little bit for you guys to be able to see. Okay, so this is our unknown substance. It turned into kind of a black liquid, very sticky looking. Okay, substance 1 remained unchanged. It had no melting whatsoever. Substance 2, you guys kind of see that it turned kind of an off color. It's no longer white. Substance 3 did a little bit of melting, enough to kind of clump it together, but not to completely liquefy it. Substance 4, you guys can kind of see where it had this black goo, and it started to melt here, and maybe just didn't let it melt long enough, so we had a black goo there. This one kind of turned black, not really super gooey, but you guys can definitely tell that it melted and then burned. 6, no melting, but a little bit of burning of whatever that powder was. 7 was completely unchanged. And 8, again, you have a little bit of black goo, but it kind of just clumped together mainly. Okay, and then again, your unknown completely burned up and left this black goo behind. If I smell it, it also smells sweet and kind of has a marshmallowy smell to it as well. Okay, so you guys will use that data to help you guys figure out and eliminate which suspects you think did not do it based on melting point, and then based on observations, which suspects do you think did commit the murder, okay? You might have more than one that makes sense to you that could be guilty, so I wouldn't necessarily convict a person if you're not 100% sure. So guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, okay? All right, if you have any questions, let me know, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.